Hello, everybody, and welcome to another one of our Conversations with Dan. We've done too many of these now. He's like setting for them or something. I don't know. Anyway, we are back with more of your questions, and we appreciate all the ones that continue to come in, and we'll continue to answer. And so we're going to dive right in. The question we have today is a fairly straightforward question. There's a lot of things we might discuss with it, but is calling Jesus a friend too familiar?
Okay. I don't know what the question really is where it's coming from. It seems to be that maybe people feel that there's disrespect in thinking of Jesus as a friend. Mm-hmm. If you look at John chapter 15, starting in verse 13, Jesus is talking to his disciples, and he says, "Greater love has no man than this, that he should lay down his life for his friends. You are my friends if you do the things that I command you." So Jesus told his disciples that you are friends if you do what he commands. Now, when we have a relationship with Jesus, I think many people don't think of this. He's not just some far off, distant divine figure. We're supposed to have a personal relationship with Jesus. And in keeping his commandments, we get to know him better and better. And he considers us his friends. Another factor in this may be that in the King James tradition, there were a lot of thees and thous and all that kind of stuff. And it came into the church as sort of a respectful prayer language.
Right.
But there are no differences in the original language in the pronouns you would use to address another person or even an animal, and the pronouns you would use to address God. There's no difference whatsoever. And so the modern translations that say you and your are really reflecting more what we have in there. And of course in the 17th century, the 1600s, thee and thou was the way you talk to everybody. See? Regardless, and even if you were calling your dog, you'd say thee and thou to your dog. So there's no lack of respect in any of that. And one other passage that may reflect on this, in John 21, when Jesus was giving a final challenge to Peter to be his disciple and follow him, the famous passage starting in verse 15 where Jesus was asking Peter repeatedly, "Do you love me?"
Right.
And Peter would reply in the English text, it'll say, "Yes, Lord, I love you."
Yes.
But what it doesn't reflect is, in the Greek text, Peter's not using the same word that Jesus was using. Jesus is using the word agape. Do you love me with this self-sacrificing, unselfish love? And what Peter was saying was the word phileo, which is the same word in John 13, which means a friend. So Jesus said, "Do you love me?" And Peter said, "Yes, Lord, I'm your friend."
Yeah.
And then the second time Jesus said, "Do you love me?" And Peter replied with the other word, "Yes, Lord, you know I'm your friend." So he was evading Jesus' question.
Yeah.
The third time, down in verse 16 or 17, Jesus actually changed the word, and Jesus said, "Peter, am I really even your friend?" See, Jesus dropped the word down to just friendship.
Yeah.
And it hurt Peter's feelings. I think it's verse 17. It says Peter was hurt when Jesus said, "Are you my friend?" And he said, "Lord, you know I'm your friend." Peter never did say, I agape you. He never said that. He said, "Lord, I'm your friend." So Peter was saying, we're buddies, we're friends, we're pal, we like each other.
Yeah.
That's not what Jesus was asking in this case. He was saying, not only, Peter, are we friends, but are you willing to go the second mile, and are you willing to sacrifice, and are you willing to do whatever it takes?
Right.
So we are supposed to be friends with Jesus. We're supposed to know him personally and be close to him. But we're also supposed to be willing to do whatever it takes.
Yeah. And so I think that's where, when we when we look at some of these verses, I mean, these are the guys that walked closely with him, and so they naturally would have had that close relationship.
Right.
Is there maybe anything beyond those that might help us with that? Because I think some people, when they get this idea of Jesus is a great deity and we have to show that deep respect, they really are thinking back to the Old Testament and the things they've heard about Judaism, where you wouldn't even say the name of God, or you might write it differently.
Which, by the way, was not in the Bible, but that was just Jewish tradition.
Sure.
Yes. Yes, I get where you're coming from. In the 17th chapter of John, when Jesus was defining eternal life, he defined it in the sense of a relationship with God and with Christ. This is eternal life, that they should know you, the only true God, and he whom you have sent, even Jesus Christ. So having this close relationship with God personally is the very meaning of fellowship and eternal life. So I think that illustrates again that we're supposed to be friends, but we shouldn't think of that as disrespectful. We should think of that as a privilege. What a privilege is to be counted as a friend by Jesus.
And so for me, some of you may not know, but I'm the worship minister here at the Broadway Church of Christ. So I do a lot of songs, been singing a lot of songs. And when you get into that sort of song language, you get a lot of these friendship type songs.
What a friend we have in Jesus.
Yes.
Jesus is a friend next to you. Young people sing. What else?
Oh, goodness.
May I call you Father? May I call you friend?
I am found a friend in Jesus.
I have found a friend in Jesus, and I believe all those things are scriptural based on the things that we've covered right there.
And so I think, is it just a matter of personal preference? Is there anything wrong with saying, I'm just not comfortable with that? Or is there maybe a theological point or a deep...
No, there's not. I mean, you can be uncomfortable with it, but that's probably your upbringing and your tradition. There's nothing unbiblical or unscriptural, because we've already showed that the scriptures called Jesus our friend.
And so if we decided to hold Jesus in a higher spot and we said, I'm not comfortable using that language, I'm going to stick with him being my Lord and Savior and Master and those sort of things.
I think that's fine, but we're missing out on something because we're keeping ourselves at arm's length from him. And he doesn't want that. He wants us to be very close to him.
He wants to bring us in.
That's right.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that, Dan. I hope that that's been helpful to those of you out there that have sent that question in, or might have wandered across that thought at various points. And so there we go. Jesus is all of these different things to us, and
including our friend.
And so we're glad that you've been watching, you've been listening and sharing, and we hope that you'll continue to send in these questions and we can explore them all together. So have a great day. We'll see y'all next time. Ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.